and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man that is currently being chased by a gigantic monster wall. It's John Levingood.
By a gigantic monster wall?
Yeah, like in the movie, In the Mouth of Madness. At the end, they created a monster wall.
I don't know about all those creatures, man. We didn't see them very much, but what we saw was enough for me to be like, I want the story of the things at the end of that hall.
Yeah, you know how they do Tales from Jabba's Palace, and they would cover all the monsters, or Tales from the Cantina from A New Hope, and all the monsters got their own chapters? I want this. Because the work by K&B, what Kurtzman, Nicotero, Berger, they created a 20-foot wall. They had 14 people inside of it pushing, and then they had 3 separate puppets. And John Carpenter's favorite was the big raisin-looking thing with a mouth that was coming towards them. That was his favorite of all the monsters. That's the one he liked the most.
I thought it was weird that one of them was like a monster that had an extra set of extra large arms that kind of rotated back and forth.
Yeah.
As it moved. And then there was another one that looked a little bit like
those were on pistons, those arms.
Huh?
Those arms were on pistons, shooting up and back and up and down.
It looked like that. They're rotating,
yeah.
Right? And then there was the one that looked like a shorter mouth tentacled version of Samael from Hellboy.
Well, I mean, Del Toro was heavily influenced by Lovecraft, so you could totally see that happening for sure.
Right, and then that raisin face thing. I don't know, man. That almost looked like in Poltergeist 2 when Craig T. Nelson literally vomited out the manifested spirit of Cain as a torso with no limbs.
Ooh.
You remember that? Do you
yeah.
know what I'm talking about? It's a brutal scene. Made me think of that thing.
Or a California raisin.
Or an actual California raisin.
And Nicotero was talking about it, so they were all excited to work with him, and it sounded like the big raisin was their least favorite, but it was Carpenter's favorite. At the end of every day, he's like, oh man, that thing. But that's the beauty of this movie. There's some really neat monster creations in this movie. And watching it again after a long break, I got this Scream Shout Factory Blu-ray with the two commentaries, all the different interviews. Like I was watching it again with my wife Megan, and she loved it. This is her favorite of The Thing, and she liked it more than The Thing, and she liked it more than Prince of Darkness. This is her favorite of the Apocalypse.
So she prefers Act 3 of the Apocalypse trilogy.
Yeah, and by light years. She loved this. Well, she loves books. And so watching this, and Sam Neill's performance, it's just beautiful in this. But we were watching it, and there's a gooey door, there's tentacles, there's gooey monsters. I was like, John loves this. There's just there's gooey. I have never seen a gooey door before, and I am 100% certain when John of John's Horror Corner saw that gooey door that was holding back the old gods, he went, I love this movie. Like, you bought the poster, you bought the soundtrack, you learned the guitar riff from John Carpenter's score.
On air guitar.
Yeah.
With my leg.
But that'd be funny if you could actually play it, but you just prefer to air guitar it.
Right. Something that I love about the Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy, in addition to independently, I adore these movies, right? I mean, we both adore these movies, and it's just that it's not like any other trilogy. You know how we can say Aliens, and Alien 3 are completely dissimilar movies? One's a sci-fi thriller suspense. One's a sci-fi action movie with some horror elements to it. They all have horror elements. And the third one is almost like a drama, if you will, on that prison planet. And so, but these are dissimilar to me in an even greater way than that, because in this case we don't have any common tie of storyline. There's no continuity to be made outside of fan theory between these movies. You have The Thing, which is a very basic, not basic in a crass way, but a basic monster concept augmented by human psychology, like, right, this what am I trying to think?
Survival instinct, paranoia.
Right, the atmospheric dread. You got Prince of Darkness, that's higher concept horror, right? That was more intellectualized in its themes, and it was trying to make some, not heavy-handed, but it was trying to it had a theme of theology meets science. and a very different kind of foe. One is an alien foe. This one is kind of a devil-like anti-god foe. And then in this, it's essentially these Lovecraftian elements in this more fantastical horror, right? It's like, and the monstrous concepts are very coupled with Lovecraftian madness. And that's something that we didn't really have in the other movies to any such degree. There was just the madness of distrust and Cabin Fever. There was the madness of being touched by darkness, but you were literally possessed by it in Prince of Darkness. But
Cabin Fever, you mean The Thing?
Yes.
Okay.
No, like Cabin Fever, like they have Cabin Fever.
Oh, got it.
Like they have Cabin Fever.
I was like, they're ripping each other's flesh off and falling into lakes?
Right. But then, like, I mean, and Mouth of Madness also differs tremendously in its huge use of varied imagery. We do not have varied horror imagery in the other movies. The imagery is always of a particular motif in each of the other movies. In this, it's all sorts, and we're world building. We don't do world building in the other two movies either, except for conceptual in Prince of Darkness. So these movies,
and they don't move much. Sorry, John. Like in Thing, they're at the outpost. And then in Prince of Darkness, they start off at USC, but then they go to the church. Very contained. This one's quite sweeping in comparison.
Right. This is a road trip.
A mythical road trip.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to say something controversial, John, and I want to see what you think about it. So I'm on record saying that The Thing is a perfect movie, and I stand by it.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
And I've said that. You've known me for 20 years.
I'm with you right there with Back to the Future.
Yeah, exactly.
The Thing and Back to the Future go together like peas and carrots.
Perfect. But if someone walked up to me on the street and said, listen, I'm going to, the only way you're going to get out of here alive is if you watch one of these Carpenter films. I'm taking In the Mouth of Madness first. I don't know why this situation happened, but if I had to just casually watch one of these, In the Mouth of Madness.
Really?
It's 95 minutes, 90 minutes with credits, short, breezy, fun. It's not, you don't have the unbridled tension and paranoia and stress of The Thing. And as much as I love Prince of Darkness, the cheeky gags take me out of it. And we talked about that at length, which I still like it, but it's still just the cheeky gags. And I mean, I love it, but I don't think the actors are as good in The Thing as they are in The Thing or in The Mouth of Madness. But in this one, I mean, you have Sam Neill putting in career work, right? You have Linda Stiles crushing it. You have DP Gary Keebe with his Panavision camera that John Carpenter loves and the wide-angle lenses knocking that out the park. You have the kind of rock score, like legit.
Oh, yeah, during the opening credits, that was so... It actually felt more late 80s with a good soundtrack, like Elm Street 3.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. I just think everything, I love the wide-angle shots of Toronto. They shot in Canada. I love the wide-angle shots that they had. I love the theme of it. I can't get enough of this movie. And so if someone said rank these movies in terms of quality, I'm going to say, which is unfair, but I'm going to say Thing, In the Mouth of Madness, Prince of Darkness. Agreed. But which would you rather watch? I would say In the Mouth of Madness, The Thing, Prince of Darkness.
I'd always have The Thing first myself.
Wow.
I love that movie so much. Yeah, I can watch that any day.
You know what I mean, though? When I say, hey, it's perfect on every level. I mean, even the hats are great. But I think Sam Neill, his performance in this movie, and Linda Stiles, but their performances are so knowing. They're not tongue-in-cheek, but they know what they're in on. They're loving it. And it's just, I don't know. And after listening to the commentary, we listened to the new commentary with John Carpenter and Sandy King. And my wife loves Sandy King now because Sandy King is hilarious. She was just ripping on, who's the head of New Line? Bob Shea. And John's like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then she just got ripping on him. But they got that church. That was in the middle of nowhere. That was a real church.
That Greek church really existed?
In the middle of nowhere in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
Yeah. And they went to it. They were supposed to go to this wooden, old rickety church. Carpenter saw the Greek Orthodox church. The production designer quit because John Carpenter didn't want to go to the one that the production designer went on, so they hired a new one. They went into this church. They made a deal with them that they would pay for all new carpeting if they would let them shoot there. And so eventually when they learned what the script was, they tried backing out of it, and the producer wouldn't let them, and they all got new carpeting. But it's like, after listening to this commentary and how cool John and his wife are, Sandy, they're just the coolest. That commentary, I love the behind-the-scenes footage. I love that it's 90 minutes long, John. This is a short movie.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot in it. There's a lot in it.
And you know what? It never drags. It never feels short. It never feels too long. I love the gags by KNB. I love listening to the behind-the-scenes interview with Nick Cachero because he says the word gag about 48 times, and that makes me happy because I love a good movie gag. The monsters are very inspired, and it's just a thrilling, there's a guy here with swollen testicles that says, that says you wanted to get out of here. I was going to introduce you as that, John, but I figured it was wrong. I don't know. There's just so much about it where it walks a tonal tightrope much better than Prince of Darkness. But I still love the themes of Prince of Darkness. And it's Prince of Darkness you have to watch close to get the really neat themes that aren't shoved down your throat at all. It rewards a watch, to be patient. This is long-winded, but I love this movie, and I'm glad that we did this trilogy because it reintroduced me to the film.
This strikes me as also being part 2 of the Sam Neill Inquisitive trilogy. Jurassic Park and the Mouth of Madness, Event Horizon.
Yeah.
He plays very similar archetypes in each, bringing in his expertise of something, and then there's either a mystery or a problem that he now has to use his expertise in an unexpected way, and then in one way or another, things go off the rails and get a little crazy and dangerous and some almost world-endable theme.
That's really interesting. Yeah, Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs could be released upon the world.
He's recruited. In this one, he's recruited to go do the job. And then Event Horizon, they recruit him to go find his ship, the Event Horizon.
Mm-hmm.
And it all goes horribly awry.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's interesting. That's a good one, John.
Yeah, it's very similar characters. While not like...
Well, similar in air quotes.
Right. Not that anything was like replayed or like someone's playing an Indiana Jones-esque character and something. No, it's not that. But I love him in these movies.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. These are probably my favorite Sam Neill movies as well.
He puts work in these, and they're genre pictures. Jurassic Park, let's say, had the prestige because it was Steven Spielberg. I can't believe I almost forgot that name. But he took a leap of faith on Event Horizon. Well, actually, he didn't take a leap of faith within the Mouth of Madness because it's John Carpenter. But he went for some funky properties. And he rolled with these. I mean, just the crosses on his face and the non-linear storytelling and just the interesting vibe that he went through and the time loops. This is good. And the Mouth of Madness. Charlton Heston pops up in this movie. Like, what's happening? It's a...
Dude.
Oh, it's so good.
And Vigo the Carpathian.
Yes.
Who is also a goon in Die Hard appears in this.
Yeah. And his kids. You know what's the freakiest visual in the Mouth of Madness? We see a four-legged, a normal dog running, being chased by children. Later on, we see that it's a three-legged dog, and the kids have become little monsters.
And one of the girls, the little girl in particular, is specifically monstrously made up,
mm-hmm.
and she has blood on her mouth. So I think that she pulled that dog's leg off like a Renaissance fair turkey leg.
Whoa. I want no, I don't want to see that. No. I don't want the NC-17 cut of that. And they actually found a three-legged dog, and that it got loose on set, and they had to chase it down before the take. Just to let you know that in the commentary. But this movie, I mean, John, do you want to... I mean, if you're listening to this, you know the film, and we don't have to spend 2 hours recapping it. But, John, can you break this movie down in 40 words or less?
Okay, an insurance investigator is hired to locate
I love this voice of yours.
a missing ultra-famous Stephen King-esque writer and ends up on a road trip to a town that doesn't exist where he loses his mind.
Whoa. And he realized that he's